Hi, my name is Danielle Heck, and this is my self-care final presentation. Throughout the semester, we had to participate in 6 different self-care activities. For the first week, I had thought to myself, what do I do? The first thing that had come to my mind was working out. Exercise plays a huge role in mental health and self-care, so I thought it was a perfect self-care activity to do. After working out for the first time in forever, I was truly surprised at how I felt afterwards. I never realized how much doing a self care activity could impact one's daily life. I had so much energy from doing just one self care activity, which was exercising. The next activity I participated in was taking a bubble bath with a face mask and some tea. After completing this activity, I realized that this was more than just one self care activity. Each activity inside this all around calmed me down and contributed to my mental health and getting me back on track from being sick and being behind on homework. I was surprised at how much more motivated I was to get things done after doing this. Going on to the third self care activity, I had no idea what to do at all. I did the 2 self care activities that are most common when thinking of self care activities. I decided to go skiing with old friends that I hadn't seen in a while. I had a lot to talk about, and during this experience, I realized that this was in fact a self care activity. It was making me feel more relieved being outside in the cold and doing something that I was nervous to get back into, and also finding time to be able to catch up with friends. During this week, I realized that a self care activity doesn't have to be a typical activity that you might have read online or heard about. It can be anything that contributes to your well being. It really changed my view on participating in self care activities daily. I realized that I need to find time to do things like this more often. After being inspired from the previous week, I decided that cleaning my room, organizing, and getting rid of things would help me stay on task better and be able to incorporate more self care activities into my daily routine. I ended up donating clothes and items that made me feel a lot better mentally and emotionally while doing this self care activity. I also made a calendar to map out my events for the week. This really made me change my whole view on going forward with self care practices in the future. Another self care activity that I did was getting my hair done. In the beginning of the semester, I would have never guessed that something like this could contribute to so much to your well being. I realized that after creating a calendar, I had so much more time to myself to do things that I enjoy. I wasn't able to get my hair done for a while with being so disorganized and stressed out with school. So it was such a good feeling to get a new look while relaxing and talking to my hairdresser, who's more like a friend to me, that I hadn't seen in forever. For the last self care activity for this course, I went hiking with old friends from middle school. It really made me forget about things for a few hours while enjoying time with people I hadn't seen in forever. It made me feel like old times when I didn't have as much work and stuff to worry about. The fresh air was also a plus, being that the winter days seemed to go on and on. My overall take on the self care activities is surprising. I never knew some activities, such as getting your hair done, going hiking, or hanging out with friends, could contribute so much to your well being. From reading other classmates' posts with their activities and their comments, it really changed my viewpoint on this. For instance, when I caught up with old friends, it brought out light in another student, as she wouldn't think to do something like that. And I felt the same way reading other people's posts and activities. This activity that you had provided for us by doing self-care practices and sharing it with other students really helped change my viewpoint throughout the course. It opened my eyes so much on how important it is and how much you can see a difference from just doing it one time. I have even incorporated some of these activities into my daily routine, and I feel so much happier, organized, and my well-being overall just feels so much better. There are many things I can take away from the readings that were provided throughout the course. First, I really liked how they all seemed to be meaningful to me. None of the articles were boring or hard to read. They all seemed to find a way to connect to my daily life, which made it more inspirational for me. For instance, in the A to Z chapters, the article Relationships, Cultivating Your Garden by Wade Dury was one of my favorites. Dury had talked about healthy relationships and toxic relationships and correlated it to a garden, something I would have never thought of. He claimed that the toxic relationships in our lives are like weeds in a garden. They're not useful and they won't help you grow. This really stood out to me as I had a lot of drama in my life in the past and with toxic people that were bringing me down. I started to focus more on the positive people in my life and have seen a difference in my mental and emotional stability. This can become a vital part in my future career when I have to learn to work with coworkers and not to let people bring me down from success. A TED Talk that had stood out to me was one by Kelly McGonigal, How to Make Stress Your Friend. She had talked about different ways to view stress, meaning that you should see the positive in it and not necessarily take it as a bad thing. She changed my whole viewpoint on stress. As one who gets stressed out a lot, I have started conquering things such as homework and being more organized to avoid this from happening. I have learned to deal with stress in different ways, such as excitement. I thought this was very influential and made me realize that this will be something vital in my future career as either a teacher or psychologist of some sort. There will be times where I may get stressed out, and I have to learn to take it from a different angle before it affects other people too, especially my students, patients, or my coworkers. The last article that had stood out to me was When College Students Look After Themselves by Gemma Moses. This article focused on students my age learning to adjust to new environments and succeed at the same time. Many times with college students, this can down spiral when students don't care what they're eating and they're enjoying all the freedom that they've never had before. They often forget to look after themselves. This really spoke to me as I feel like I was the same way my freshman year, and I did whatever I want by eating, going out, or just my free time. Even recently, I feel I've just been eating whatever I want due to being stressed or late or not having enough time. This article opened my eyes a little more on how important self-care is and how you need to realize when your body is asking for a break from bad things, such as food or work. I feel that I have grown spiritually, mentally, emotionally, socially, and physically just from taking this one course. This course opened my eyes to a lot of new things and new ways to take care of myself. Mentally and emotionally, I feel so much better than I did at the beginning of the course from everything I've learned to do and be cautious of. I now know of all the risks to take before things can get bad. I am aware of so many more new things now, which has taken a lot of weight off my shoulders, which contributed a lot to my mental and emotional well-being. My spiritual well-being has also grown a lot. When I had taken the bubble bath, I began meditating, and it really made me feel spiritually better and less stressed. Regarding my social well-being, I realized that your social well-being plays a huge role in self-care. It is important that you are getting time to be social. By being more social has taken so much stress off my shoulders and made me realize that I actually do have time to be social. I just never realized I thought I did. From being so much more organized, I can now have time with friends and go out. My physical well-being had also changed dramatically throughout the course. Throughout all the self-care activities I participated in, such as hiking and working out, both had left me with so much more energy and made me have more motivation to do it. I now look forward to going to the gym every day and have contributed it to my daily routine. My physical well-being has played a huge role in my well-being, from higher confidence level and more energy and more motivation for other activities later in the day. I have also noticed it to play a role in my mental well-being, that it has helped lower my anxiety. I now think that I will contribute this daily for future and on in my future career. As mentioned before, my peers in the class contributed a lot to changing my view on self-care. From reading my peers' posts, they seem to agree that self-care is essential and there are many risks regarding the workplace. Many students thought that changing the environment or being in an environment with nature is essential. I would have never realized that something like that could play such a huge role in lowering the risk and of burnout. I even noticed that some of my peers decided to change their environment when doing work. This shows how much of an impact it made on them. This is something that I still need to try to do, being that it works so well for my other peers. They also understand how important it is to participate in these self-care activities to avoid burnout or compassion fatigue in the workplace, or in our case as students. I realized that many of the posts I had read had been inspiring to me, seeing that what they were reading and they were taking part in, it was working for them. I had also noticed from the feedback on my post that many others liked my ideas and saw different viewpoints than they originally did and than I originally did. I plan to expand my self-care practices and continue to find new ways to contribute better to my well-being. I think it's important to take part in self-care daily in order to minimize or lower chance of workplace stress, burnout, compassion fatigue, and vicarious trauma in my future profession. I have hopes to either be a psychologist or teacher, and from doing research more on my topic of interest, I have learned that it is very common and can easily happen in my field. If I were to face one of these, it would not be the best for my students if I had ever took it out on them, especially if they're not in the right mental position either, if I were to be like a school psychologist. If I decide to be a special education teacher, this could greatly impact the students' learning ability negatively, as well as if I display signs of stress or negative emotions or even take it out on them. Right now, as I'm deciding on which field I want to go into, I plan to incorporate these into my daily routine. So when I actually am in the field, I'll be using these practices already and be used to having them in my routine. I also have plans to generate and research new ideas that will help me in my future career path with self-care activities. I now know no matter what I decide to do, I may be dealing with tough situations, so it is important that I learn to put a handle on it before I am dealing with burnout, stress, compassion fatigue, or any sort of trauma from happening and having it affect my work. From here on out, I will continue to have self-care daily in my life. As you can see, I have many goals to help me attain the best well-being all around. I think having this chart will help me stay on task. Starting with physical care, I know I need to make improvements and continue to stick with it. I want to be able to get at least 8 hours of sleep every night. I've been lacking in sleep, which has affected my energy level, so I hope to improve it to 8 hours each night. There are so many different apps on the phone that can help me keep track with this. I also want to make sure my nutrition is good. I plan to drink at least 8 glasses every day with my new water bottle that measures how much you're drinking. I also have been lacking in calories, so I want to be taking in more calories along with eating better and eating every meal. MyFitnessPal helps track all of this. Aside from nutrition and sleep, I hope to work out at least 4 times a week since I've already been seeing improvements with having it in my routine. My friend said she wants to start working out too, so this will be a great way to keep me accountable. Looking at the psychological care, I want to lower my screen time on my phone and start reading more books. I'm not huge into reading, but since I'm graduating and I won't be going to school next year, I need to incorporate this daily. You can actually look on your phone. There's a section where it says how much you've been on your phone and how much you've been on each app. This will definitely show me if I've reduced the amount of time I'm on my phone. I also want to meditate at least once a day. I've noticed my anxiety has started to pick up with graduation coming and not knowing what to do next year, and this always helps to make me feel better. There's a great meditation app on the phone that I plan to use. I also want to take more bubble baths and put on face mask more often, at least once a week, and through keeping a journal, I'll be able to record this. From seeing how well cleaning my room contributed to my well being last time, I want to do this at least once a month and put it in my calendar each time. I also want to go outdoors more, so doing an outdoor activity at least once a month will definitely help with my physical well being. Looking at social care, I want to make sure to catch up with my friends at least once a week, with either texting them or calling them. I want to be able to hang out with friends at least twice a month too, and make sure to make time for all my friends. And I want to be able to eat dinner with family at least once a week. I also want to go on a date night at least once a month with my boyfriend. With all of these, I find it hard to incorporate it into a daily thing, so I want to be able to find more time through all of that. With having a journal and calendar and friends and family and my boyfriend's help keep me track with these things, I'll be able to get it done. Looking at professional and academic care, I want to be able to shadow people for my future career at least once a month until grad school, so I'll be able to figure it out sooner what I want to do to help take stress off my shoulders. I also want to block out an hour each day to work on stuff for work that I might be behind in. I also want to research graduate programs at least once a week to help me figure out where I want to go and what program exactly I want to go into. And I also want to schedule 2 hours daily to work on homework and also meet with my manager at least once a week. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.